there are people who are aiming at down. So there's a book, Panzram. You ever read Panzram?
No.
Oh my God. So the book starts out, it's this guy who's in prison.
It's a novel or a real book?
It's an autobiography.
Autobiography, okay.
And he's sitting in a corner, he's all beat to hell, he's a very tough looking guy, and a prison psychiatrist goes and gives him a cigarette. And Panzram, the guy who wrote the autobiography, said that's the only nice thing anybody ever did for him in his whole life. Now, whether or not that's true, that's not the point, but it's close enough to true. And so the psychiatrist starts to interview this Panzram character who's like, I think he raped 240 men, he killed like 50. His dying words to the hangman were, hurry up, you Hoosier bastard, I could kill 12 men in the time it's taken you to knot that rope.
Oh my God.
Right, and he meant it.
Okay.
And Panzram was brutalized when he was a child, like just beyond belief. And he decided that he was going to aim down for his whole life. And so he almost started a war between Great Britain and the United States. He wanted to burn everything to the ground, everything. And that's his autobiography. He even told us, the psychiatrist asked him to write his autobiography. It's called Panzram, and so that's what he did. He told the psychiatrist never to turn his back on him. Because he thought, even though he liked the psychiatrist, insofar as Panzram could like anyone, he thought, give me an opportunity, buddy.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, well, that is different. There's some overlap with political psychopathology with people like Beria and Stalin as well. You know, God only knows what those people were up to, especially someone like Beria.
I have a death warrant. I think I told you this last time we talked. I have a death warrant signed by him in my kitchen, framed. And the paper is just real shit. And it's like, it's not even worth a nice piece of paper. That's how little someone's life was worth then and there.
Yeah, right. Right. Yeah, exactly. Well, it's funny. Those little details matter.
They didn't worry about the good printer, Jordan.
I read Theodore Dalrymple's account of going to North Korea, which is brilliant. He's such a brilliant essayist. And he went into the big department store there where everyone's an actor and all the artifacts aren't real. And he bought a pen. He was like the only person who actually bought something in the store because no one buys anything. And he detailed out the ways the pen didn't work. Like you just have no idea how many ways a pen can not work. The little pocket clip can, you know, come off. The ball doesn't work. The ink is watery and runs. Like for a pen to work, 100 things have to be not lies. In that kind of totalitarian state, absolutely everything is a lie.
But I'm going to correct you a little bit. The pen did work as a status symbol.
Yes.
Because if you have this nice pen in your pocket, that's what it works.
Right. Sure. Yeah. So the bottom of things. Yeah, well, it's a very long way down. And that is part of the problem with the marginal. So, you know, we were talking about the center and the margin. It's like Jonathan Pajot explained this to me. I didn't know this. So in sacred architecture, the architecture of cathedrals, there was often monsters on the periphery, right? Like the gargoyles.
Sure.
And the monsters are because as you move farther and farther away from the center, you get into the world of monstrous forms. Now, by the definition of the center, granted, but this is the case for every conceptual scheme or every perception. Ideal at the center, like circles of approximation.
Right.
Drifting out into the marginal and then the monstrous. And this is the problem with part of the problem with the postmodernist ethos. It's like center the marginal. It's like, oh yeah? How about the monstrous? Well, they're just victims. It's like, wait till there's one under your bed.
Right. Because they're marginal for a reason.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully. Yeah.
Hopefully. You know, for Foucault, all the people who were in prison were victims. It's like, all of them?
Right.
Really? Because you saw this in what brought down the Scottish government, the Scottish Prime Minister. Remember, she put the rapists in the women's
Nicola
prison.
Sturgeon, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh, they're men. They're women.
No, she didn't know what to say. She was asked and she was stammering.
Right. Well, that's right. But that was bad enough, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I see. So every man who says so is a woman. Everyone.
The thing that I think that you obviously know that I think a lot of people haven't codified is that a big portion of leftist thought is based on the idea that human beings never respond to incentives. And those who do, it's in such small numbers that it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
And we could talk about it in sports where like if someone's a wrestler, they have to make weight, right? So if you kind of lose 15 pounds of fluid and you're 160 on the day of the weigh-in, you can actually be someone who's 180 pounds and, you know, you're going to fight someone who's much smaller than you. Yeah. And I'm sure, I haven't looked this up, and that there was one guy who's like, wait a minute, I can game the system. I'm 180, but if I'm 160 on that day, if I just have diarrhea and just dehydrate myself, I'm going to have a huge advantage. And now everyone has to do it. But that's the same thing. If you have this, you're telling me that one person is going to say, okay, wait, if I just say I'm female, I can just run the table in a given sport. Why, even as a joke, why wouldn't that guy do it?
Yeah. Yeah, well, you
why
remember,
wouldn't he? And there's never an
who
answer.
was the comedian that was wrestling women? Man in the Moon. Andy Kaufman,
my idol.
He knew that was coming, eh?
Oh,
he knew that. There was part of him, his evil little soul, that knew that was coming.
Oh, he wasn't evil at all.
No, not at all. No. He was very intuitive,
actually
prophetic.
I want to segue into what I really want to pick your brain about. Something that I relate to a lot, and you're probably going to go on for 5 hours, and I'll love every minute. The trickster archetype. Mm-hmm. Why is the trickster archetype so important, and what are your thoughts about it? Positive, negative?
Are you ready for a fresh start after the holiday indulgence? Make 2025 your healthiest year yet with Balance of Nature. Those Christmas cookies and holiday feasts were great, but now your body's craving something different. That's where Balance of Nature comes in, the perfect way to reset your health this new year. Getting your daily fruits and vegetables has never been easier. Balance of Nature takes fresh produce, freeze dries it to preserve nutrients, and delivers it in a convenient capsule you can take anywhere. No additives, no fillers, no synthetics, or added sugar, just pure fruits and vegetables in every capsule. It's that simple. Are you ready to transform your health in 2025? For a limited time, use promo code Jordan to get 35% off your first order, plus receive a free fiber and spice supplement. Head over to balanceofnature.com and use promo code Jordan for 35% off your first order as a preferred customer, plus get a free bottle of fiber and spice. That's balanceofnature.com, promo code Jordan for 35% off. Balance of Nature, promo code Jordan for 35% off your first preferred order, plus a free bottle of fiber and spice.
Well, the trickster is both. You're a trickster today.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah, exactly. And you have that about you.
Yes.
Well, Jung said the trickster is the precursor to the savior.
Oh, okay.
Right. So that's because...
He said that, really?
You bet.
Oh.
He's a marginal character, but the trickster is a psychopomp. Okay, so you want to answer this?
Yes,
question?
I do.
Okay, so we'll go right from first principles. So here's how the world works. You set a name. Okay, that means you elevate something.
Yeah.
You prioritize it, you celebrate it, you worship it. Those are all the same thing. You set it as a name. Okay, now your perceptual systems are navigation tools. Okay, so you set the aim. You see a pathway. This is actually how the world appears to you. You see pathways, tools, they move you forward.
Okay.
Obstacles, they get in your way.
Yeah.
Friends, they're tools in the social world. Foes, okay, that's the dramatic landscape. One more. Agents of magical transformation, like wizards. What do? They reset the aim. A trickster is an agent of magical transformation. Now, is he good or bad? You don't know, because a trickster's, so imagine you're playing game A, right? But there's someone who's playing game D, and they come to visit. Okay, now they're a trickster because they're not playing by the same rules. They're not in the same world. And when you interact with them, it's magical because they're emblematic of another way of being. Well, that could be a descent into the abyss,
sure,
or it could be an ascent to a higher game. You don't know. And the thing is that in all likelihood, you're going to be afraid. So when Gandalf, for example, when Gandalf comes to visit the hobbits, they're kind of in awe of him, but they're also afraid and distrustful. And even Bilbo is the same. Like he knows there's something to this guy, and the Strider too, Aragorn kind of plays the same role. He's ambivalent. Well, why? Because he's a game changer. Well, your game could fall apart, in which case the trickster is like, he's opened the portal to hell, but your game could be elevated, in which case he's a harbinger. He's a psychopomp. He's someone who lives on the edge. He's a messenger of the gods, right? And so tricksters introduce the possibility of a new game, and even comedians do that all the time, because what they're doing, a joke is often, here we are in this world, and then, no, it's actually this world, and everybody laughs, and that's the punchline. And so the comedian is a trickster, and he's a world shifter. And so the tricksters, now, the trickster and the fool are similar archetypal creatures. And the fool is also the precursor to the savior, because when you play a new game, you're a fool. To beginner, right? You're a beginner.
Yeah.
So you have to accept the fool. You have to accept the trickster and the fool to play a new game. Right, right. And so certainly comedians play that role all the time. And that's partly what do they do exactly? They're jokes. Well, a joke is something like an introduction to a new way of perceiving. So, it's a micro transformation. So, I don't know. I think part of the way that you distinguish the positive tricksters from the negative tricksters is the positive tricksters use play and humor and invitation, right? So it's a game. You want to play a new game. That's the invitation. That's definitely the right basis for policy.